Your morning isn't decided when you wake up. It's decided the night before. And there is a very specific difference between those two things. A bad morning feels like bad luck. A bad morning that was actually set in motion 9 hours earlier feels like something you could have prevented, because you could have. 10 habits. Small enough that none of them will feel like effort. Done before 9 p.m. every single night, and together they explain why some people wake up already ahead of the day, and some people wake up already behind it, before either of them has done a single thing differently in the morning itself. Stay with me until habit number 10, because number 10 is the one that makes the other 9 actually stick. Without it, you'll do these for 4 or 5 nights and quietly let them slide. With it, this entire routine runs itself, and you stop having to remember any of it at all. But first, habit number 4 is the one that's going to surprise you, because it has nothing to do with sleep, nothing to do with screens, and takes about 3 minutes. 3 minutes, and it may do more for how you feel tomorrow morning than an extra hour in bed ever could. Let's begin. Most of us think about the evening the wrong way. We treat it as the reward zone, the part of the day where effort finally stops, where we collapse onto the couch and let the next several hours happen to us instead of shaping them. Then we wonder, every single morning, why we wake up already tired, already behind, already reaching for coffee just to feel functional. Japan doesn't treat the evening that way. In Japan, the hours before sleep are not dead time. They are a series of small, deliberate transitions, a structured wind down that tells the body, clearly and repeatedly, that the day is ending, so the next one can properly begin. There is a concept behind this called Yugir no Jikan, the twilight hours, treated as their own distinct period with their own rhythm, not simply the tail end of the workday. And there is a broader idea rooted in traditional Japanese daily structure called ma, the deliberate, intentional space between things, including the space between work and rest, which Western routines routinely erase entirely. 10 habits. Each one almost insultingly small. Each one the difference between a body that resets overnight and one that simply carries today's residue straight into tomorrow. Let's go through every single one. You've heard that screens before bed are bad for sleep. Stay with me, because most people hear this and think it means maybe scroll a little less. That's not what's actually happening, and the difference matters. Blue light exposure in the evening suppresses melatonin production, the hormone that signals to your body that it's time to prepare for sleep. Research on light exposure and circadian rhythm has found that even moderate screen brightness in the hour before bed can delay melatonin onset by close to an hour, which doesn't just make falling asleep harder, it pushes your entire overnight hormonal reset later, compressing the repair window your body needed that night. In Japan, evening routines traditionally shift toward dim, warm lighting well before bed, lower lamps, not overhead lights, a structural cue that doesn't depend on willpower, because the environment itself signals wind down rather than asking you to resist a lit-up phone. The shift, a fixed, firm screen cutoff isn't about discipline. It's about giving your body back the hour of hormonal preparation a bright screen was quietly stealing from it, every single night. That is habit number 1. Now, habit number 2 is something almost everyone does the moment they get home, and almost nobody does at the right time. This sounds backwards. Most people shower right before sleep, assuming it relaxes them straight into unconsciousness. Here's what's actually happening instead. Your core body temperature needs to drop for sleep onset. It's one of the primary internal signals that tells your brain it's time to sleep. A hot bath or shower raises core temperature first. Taken immediately before bed, you're fighting your own cooling process at the exact moment you need it. Taken 60 to 90 minutes earlier, the opposite happens. Your body's subsequent drop in temperature, as it cools back down from the bath, mimics and reinforces the natural pre-sleep temperature dip, making it easier, not harder, to fall asleep once you do lie down. The traditional Japanese bath, or ofuro, is typically taken in the early evening, well before bedtime, for exactly this reason, alongside its cultural role as a transition ritual between the working day and the rest of the evening. The shift, the same bath, timed an hour earlier, goes from working against your sleep to actively engineering it. That is habit number 2. Now, habit number 3, and this one is going to challenge what you think of as a relaxing evening meal. Late, heavy dinners are treated as normal in much of the West, sometimes the largest meal of the day, eaten closest to sleep. Here's the problem with that timing specifically. Digestion is metabolically active work, and lying down to sleep with a large, unfinished digestive load keeps core body temperature and metabolic activity elevated at precisely the moment they need to be dropping. Research on meal timing and sleep quality has consistently linked eating close to bedtime with more fragmented, lower quality sleep, independent of what was actually eaten. In Japan, dinner is traditionally the earliest of the day's larger meals relative to bedtime, giving digestion a substantial head start before sleep begins. The shift, the same dinner, finished 3 hours before bed instead of 30 minutes, lets your body drop into sleep-ready mode instead of spending the first 2 hours of the night still digesting. That is habit number 3. Now, habit number 4, the 3-minute habit I told you about at the start. Stay right here, because this one has nothing to do with sleep hygiene at all. Clothes chosen. Bag packed. The next morning's first task written down somewhere visible. 3 minutes, done the same time every evening. Slow down here, because I know what you're thinking, that this can't meaningfully affect how you feel tomorrow. Here's the mechanism. Unresolved decisions create low-level cognitive load that persists in the background, sometimes described through the Zeigarnik effect, the brain's tendency to keep unfinished tasks active in working memory. A morning full of small undecided things, what to wear, what's for breakfast, what the first task is, means your brain is making decisions before it's even fully awake, using willpower you haven't recovered yet from the previous day. The shift, 3 minutes of tonight's preparation removes a dozen small decisions from tomorrow's depleted, half-awake brain, decisions it would have made worse anyway. That is habit number 4. Now, habit number 5, and this one is about what's actually in the room with you while you sleep. Not a minimalism preference, a specific environmental variable. Sleep science consistently identifies cooler room temperature, roughly 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit, and near total darkness as two of the strongest external levers for deep sleep quality, because both directly support the same overnight temperature drop and melatonin production habit 1 and 2 were already protecting. Traditional Japanese sleeping spaces, futons on tatami, minimal furniture, minimal visual clutter in the sleeping area itself, structurally support this by default, without needing anyone to consciously optimize for it. The shift, a bedroom that's cooler and darker than you're used to isn't a discomfort you adjust to. It's a direct input into how much deep, repair stage sleep you actually get, every single night. That is habit number 5. Now, habit number 6, and this one is the one most people skip because it feels like it doesn't do anything. Not a workout. Not something that raises your heart rate. Slow, static stretching, shoulders, neck, lower back, the areas that hold the day's accumulated physical tension. Here's why this matters specifically for tomorrow. Muscular tension held overnight is associated with lower sleep quality and, notably, with morning stiffness that colors how the entire next day feels physically before it's even begun. Gentle stretching activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest state, shifting your body out of the sympathetic, alert state most people are still lingering in from the day's stress, without ever noticing they hadn't fully come down from it. The shift, 10 minutes of stretching isn't relaxation for its own sake. It's the difference between waking up already carrying yesterday's physical tension and waking up in a body that actually reset overnight. That is habit number 6. Now, habit number 7, and this one has almost nothing to do with your body and everything to do with your mind. Not a full journal. Not a gratitude list. 3 sentences, factual, closing the day the way you'd close a file. Here's the psychology. Rumination, replaying unresolved thoughts about the day right as you're trying to fall asleep, is one of the most common disruptors of sleep onset. A brief, structured act of externalizing the day, even in 3 sentences, has been shown in research on expressive writing and sleep to reduce the mental replaying that otherwise happens involuntarily once the lights go off and there's nothing left to distract from it. The shift, 3 sentences on paper tonight is the difference between your brain replaying today for the next 20 minutes in the dark, or considering the day closed and turning its attention to actually falling asleep. That is habit number 7. Now, habit number 8, and this one is about what you drink, not what you eat, warm water, or a caffeine-free herbal tea, not as a sleep aid claim, but as a ritual marker and a mild hydration habit that doesn't disrupt sleep the way a late coffee or alcohol would. Here's the mechanism worth knowing. Caffeine has a half-life of roughly 5 to 6 hours, meaning a late afternoon coffee can still have a meaningful fraction of its stimulant effect active at bedtime, even if you don't consciously feel wired. A warm, caffeine-free drink in its place does double duty. It avoids adding a late stimulant to your system, and its warmth contributes to the same temperature and relaxation signal habit 2 already started with the bath. The shift, the last drink of your day, either quietly extends today's stimulation into tonight, or reinforces the wind down you've already spent the evening building. Same time slot, opposite effect, depending entirely on what's in the cup. That is habit number 8. Now, habit number 9, and this one is about consistency, not content. Most people treat weekday and weekend sleep as two different schedules. Here's why that's a bigger cost than it seems. Your circadian rhythm, the internal clock governing sleep, hormone release, and body temperature, relies on consistency to stay accurately calibrated. Research on social jet lag, the term for the mismatch between weekday and weekend sleep schedules, has linked inconsistent bedtimes to measurably worse sleep quality and next-day cognitive performance, even when total sleep duration stays roughly the same. It's not just how much you sleep. It's how predictably your body knows sleep is coming. The shift, the same 9 habits, done at a wildly different time each night, work against a circadian rhythm that never quite knows what to expect. Done at a consistent time, every single one of them compounds instead of resetting from scratch. That is habit number 9. Now, habit number 10, the one I told you at the very start, makes all 9 of the others permanent. Stay here, because this is the most important thing in this entire video. This one isn't a habit about sleep at all. It's about the structure the other 9 live inside of. Here's what I mean. Most people attempt these kinds of routines as a list of separate tasks to remember and motivate themselves through individually, every single night, which is exhausting, and exactly why most evening routines quietly dissolve within 2 weeks. Japan's approach to daily structure, reflected in the broader idea of intentional, ordered space between activities, treats an evening not as 9 separate decisions but as one continuous sequence: dinner, then bath, then stretching, then the 3 sentences, then the warm drink, then lights out, in the same order, at roughly the same times, every night. Here's the mechanism that makes this the multiplier habit. Behavioral research on habit formation consistently finds that chained routines, where finishing one step is the trigger for starting the next, become automatic far faster than the same habits attempted independently, because you're not making 9 separate decisions to begin 9 separate things. You're making one decision, once, to start the sequence, and the sequence carries itself the rest of the way. The shift, you don't need the willpower to independently start 9 good habits every single night for the rest of your life. You need one fixed sequence, done in the same order enough times that the first step alone is enough to carry you through all 10. That is habit number 10. Here is everything in one breath. Screens off at a fixed time, not just dimmed. Bath or shower an hour before bed, not right before it. Dinner finished 3 hours out. 3 minutes preparing tomorrow. A cool, dark, uncluttered bedroom. 10 minutes of gentle stretching. 3 sentences closing the day. A warm, caffeine-free drink in the last hour. The same bedtime every single night, weekends included. And all 9 of them run in one fixed sequence, so you never have to remember them individually again. 10 habits. None of them require new equipment. None of them require an earlier alarm or less time with your evening. Every single one begins tonight, the next time you finish dinner and the evening actually starts. You don't wake up tired because mornings are hard. You wake up tired because nobody ever handed you these 10 habits, while the rest of the evening quietly ran without any structure at all, right up until the moment your head hit the pillow. Now you have them. So here's what I want from you before you close this video. Right now, tell me in the comments which one of these 10 your evenings are most missing. Is it number 1, are you still scrolling in bed with the lights off right up until you fall asleep? Is it number 3, is dinner usually the last thing that happens before you go straight to bed? Is it number 10, do you have 9 good intentions but no actual order to any of them? Tell me the number, 1 through 10, in the comments right now, because naming it is the first step, and someone reading your comment might recognize their own evening in it and finally decide to change it tonight. If this changed how you think about your evenings, send it to the one person you know who's always exhausted before the day has even started. They're 10 small habits away from waking up already ahead of tomorrow instead of already behind it. I'll see you in the next one.